Okay. Can you see the image?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I wanted to show you just briefly some images related to embryology and the heart. And especially this, I just was looking for what Michaela was saying, this connection between the heart and the tongue. You see this arch, the first arch will become the mandible. So it's not yet developed fully. So this one, there's no mouth yet. The mouth will become this space here. And so there is this direct connection actually between the brain and the heart. And the blood vessels are actually, and we look at it also, quite strong. This is a bit more colorful, but it shows the same thing, that the circulatory system and the heart are quite strong, potent, and the pharyngeal arch here is not yet developed. And then in the embryo, then it looks like that, more or less. It's I think a very idealistic, stylized picture. But the heart is quite big in a way here, and there's not yet the mouth or the mandible, and the hands are in relationship to the heart. The hands are kind of holding the heart. Or like this. So the physical space of the heart is quite big in relationship to the rest of the body in that state. And then going a step back, where the circulatory system develops, it's the blood islands, it's the yolk sac here, and the blood islands on the outside of the yolk sac starting to create the blood vessels and the blood itself, the blood cells. So it is the blood vessels and the blood cells come from the same origin, from these primitive blood cells, and then the heart develops as a tube first. But you see here there is also the heart space in relation to the brain space. There's no mouth, there's no face yet, but it's just this proximity in the very beginning. And this I wanted to show you because it shows how small the heart in a way is in comparison to all the blood vessels. So actually this heart looks pretty big. It's much smaller, I would say, but the blood vessels are very, very strong. So the idea that the blood vessels support the heart, or the heart is just a place where the blood goes through rather than just a pump, is very important. And this is just like a nice image how hearts are interconnected. But actually we want to look more how hearts are interconnected in a more energetic way, or magnetic field way, or vibrational, in a vibrational way. And so if you remember, we did before this exercise or this exploration with the energy ball, right? Like to do you feel that like when you bring your hands together, that it's not, the space is not empty. It's not like just collapsing, but there is some kind of density between your hands. And you can do it just like approaching the hands like that, but you can also kind of move your hands around this imaginary ball, like in a little bit like what we did with the figure eight. So it's like the hands go in opposite direction. There is not going around the ball like that, but they go in opposite direction. So actually your hands describe like a kind of a figure eight around that ball. And then you bring your hands, you do the same thing, and you bring your hands from a distance slowly closer to your heart or to your chest, to your ribs, and feel the same density. So it's not like your hands are collapsing towards your ribs, but you feel this kind of expansion field from your heart. And one reason I got really interested in that lately is that working with the parents, especially the mothers who are touching their child, they often think about exercises, doing exercises, and I think, Angelica, you had maybe, you were talking about a similar experience. They're talking about exercises or treating the child, but they forget that the first thing is the relational, and that they need to connect to themselves to allow this connection to the child. So what is this connection between the hands and the heart, this dense field when you bring your hands closer to the heart and you kind of let your hands be pushed away from this energy. So you bring them closer and then you let them be pushed away from that. And then you start again, like we did with Anka, that you introduce from there that figure eight, this infinity movement, or this idea around the ball, but you keep that connected to your heart, and also kind of remembering this big heart space of the embryo. And so playing around that, also this relationship with the brain before there is the jaw. So you can release the mandible, the jaw, and just feel the connection to the palate. And while you feel this expanding heart field and condensing heart field, that is together then with this figure eight, which is actually also how the blood moves through the heart, and how this spiralic nature of the heart developed in the embryological phase. You can just play a little bit with that, with the figure eight, with the expanding and the condensing, and allowing also your spine to be soft. So when there's an expansion, also your spine can go a little bit in extension. And when there is a condension, your spine can respond. Your spine is available with the notochord also maybe. So it's like a soft bamboo in the wind or a soft grass in the wind. So when you're expanding or you're condensing, the spine is soft and fluid, but still with a nice tone, like we say with a notochord or with some turgidity, you say for plants, if they a plant is well nourished, you have that soft strength. And then bring for a moment your awareness to the perineum. And this is actually where the mesoderm starts. And remember, maybe you remember the notochord, the primitive streak starts there. So when the embryo is a bilaminar disc, it's just the front and the back with these two sacs. From the bottom, there's a point where the mesoderm starts with the primitive streak to the primitive knot, and then the notochord develops, while then the primitive knot is retreating down. So there is this movement up and down. But then from there, the mesoderm develops into between these two layers, the front and the back. And in that early moment, very early in the second week already, there are specific cells separating, which are called the cardiogenic mesoderm. And they go to left and right side, almost outside of the embryo, and they move up. They're forming two tubes, and they come to the middle, and these two tubes become one tube. And this is in front, this one tube, like we saw also in the image, is in front of the future mouth, before there is the mouth. So it's like close to the palate and in front of the pharyngeal arches. And the embryo is bending down. The ectoderm is growing faster than the endoderm, so that makes the embryo bend while the yolk sac is internalized. But in this, the heart is not just going down, but it is also rotating down. So it is making a movement like that. It goes down, and then instead of just going down, it's also making a spiral. So it's while it's going down, it's folding, and it's arriving in a position like that. And so if you think about that, if you continue this gesture, you arrive again at this figure 8 movement. So if you just make this gesture, repeat this gesture, or maybe you can also come from the perineum, come up, and then down. You can come up, and then you go down like this. So it's the creation of the heart already implies this figure 8. So now if you bring back this development of the heart together with the heart field and the energy ball, the expanding heart field, the condensing heart field, the soft spine, just letting this information, maybe memory, deeper layers of unconscious memory of um, sensations, feelings, a quality of the movement, which is deep embedded in the tissue and in the space around you. And just explore this quality, or these qualities of condensing, expanding, of infinity or infinite flow, being closer to you, being further away, and how that feels in your hands, how your hands, when you imagine to touch somebody or even touching yourself, how this infinity of connection and flow is communicating through your hands to somebody else, to you. How the touch is just the meeting point for communicating what is flowing through you, flowing into the space, flowing to another person, and flowing back to you. Expanding into the space, into somebody else. Why it is condensing. So condensing, expanding in a simultaneous way. And you can also look at your hands as they move closer, further away, if they touch. Also this connection between the mouth, the tongue, the hands, and the heart. And this continuous flow of crossing, of flowing together in spirals and in vortexes. And then bringing your hands back to your ribs or to your heart or to your arms. And continuing to feel the movement inside of you. And the way you're sitting on your sit bones in your pelvis. This infinite movement, figure eights. In your abdomen, your organs, and your ribs, your lungs, your heart, your spine, your head, even your vestibular system. And whatever images or feelings or memories are coming with this, just welcome whatever is there now in this moment. And then if you want to continue to move for a moment or rest or you want to write something down or draw. Or just be there where you are in the moment.